What's up, people? It's your boy Just Why I'm here today in Kerbal Space Program 2. And I was just flying my new jet around, skimming above the water as one does. And I started to think I wanted to build a craft on the water again. I started to feel froggy for some reason. So I figured I'd take everything I've learned so far about the water and the buoyancy system, and maybe I would try again to get a craft to float on the water. So I figured let's start small with a test craft and see how I can get this to float. So the first craft I tried was this really small, weird looking craft here that looks like a really odd launch platform with two small jets pumped on the side, but hey, it works. A little control surface, a little SAS to make sure I can steer, and this baby works just fine on top of the water. So this tells me a few things: that if I set it to horizontal instead of setting it, well, I'm sorry, if I set it to vertical instead of horizontal, that I can make a stable launch platform, and that's going to allow me to have a better time on the water. So I decided, let's ramp this up, make a boat, and see how well it works. And made this boat that you see here. And everything's paused. Let's go ahead and unpause. And here you can see our boat is working. We have this engine on here, and this engine is currently lit up, which is why I had it paused. Because I need to be able to actually steer myself away, because there are still some phantom forces that do affect your craft. And of course, the water is extremely rough. So that's going to force you to really bobble around here. Like you can see, you are literally riding a water horse all through the entire trip, which would be extremely nauseating. So my next thought from here was, well, if I can make a boat that can travel on the water dependably, well, can I make a launch platform, a bigger launch platform, that can support an orbital type rocket? So after much trials and tribulations, I managed to create a significantly large orbital craft that's good enough for localized travel, maybe to the moon, maybe to Minmus or the Mun. I didn't put any landing legs on there, so it's not going to be landing anywhere comfortably. But it does have more than enough fuel to at least travel locally. Or, deliver a satellite into orbit, what have you. So I went ahead and slapped it on the water, fast forwarded some time so I could get back to daylight again, and the craft held stable. So this is where things get a little awkward, is because when you launch the craft, well, the whole thing is, you can see the game's not really meant for a water launch. Because what happens is the game looks at it, it separates, and the game says, okay, your craft is done, it blew up. To which you have to quickly switch back over, select your craft, and hopefully you can get it out of harm's way in just enough time. In this case, I was able to, but my craft was spun in such a way that I had to really finagle the controls to make sure I could get into to the upper atmosphere instead of into the water. Now, this is where I have a bit of frustration still in the game, because the craft is extremely wobbly. This should not be a wobbly craft. It has a ton of wobble to it, and unfortunately, this causes the entire thing to fight me on the way all the way to orbit. I even have struts that go from top down, securing every single portion of this craft, and yet it wobbles around and there's nothing I can do about it to stop it. So I just kind of powered through, let my rocket do its thing, got to a point, dropped it off, then went ahead and just worked my way over to orbit. Now, some odd things happen whenever you do a water launch. It kind of breaks things a lot. If you can see there, my struts are actually still there, extended like they're connected to something, but there's nothing there, which is very odd. But even with my second stage, I was able to get to a nice stable orbit, not much challenge to it, and still have enough fuel, enough Delta V to actually make another transfer over to one of the local bodies to Kerbin, which is really cool. So a nice stable platform that you can do a water launch from with a quite sizable rocket. So it can be done, just enough finagling and fighting, but do expect to have some very odd results when you do attempt it, if you do indeed attempt it. And hey, maybe you can launch from the water and go to Duna, or it would be more appropriate to go to Lathe from the water. You would have to have a huge platform to support it, and good luck with the frames per second getting that going. But for now, I'm going to call this one mission success, and I'm going to go relax, kick up my feet, and dream of better days where my rockets won't wobble. I feel like Elmer Fudd should be in here. Elmer Fudd Kerman. That wobbly rocket. I'm gonna get on out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you haven't yet, check out my newest clothing line that I'm getting out there. We have not just clothing, we have actually blankets and things now, and coffee mugs, which look really cool. And a 20-ounce mug is good for more than just coffee. There's a lot of things that can go in a 20-ounce mug. And it's wintertime coming up, so do enjoy. Give it a check. The link's in the description down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. For now, this is your boy Jatois, and I'm out. Peace.